Scoreline is insane. Germany 7, Curaçao 1. Sure, Curaçao aren't in any way going to compete with Germany, right? We didn't expect them to do anything. But it's how efficient the Germans are. And guys, we're talking about some of the best football that we've seen in the World Cup. And it will be some of the best football that we will see across the World Cup because even if you're talking about teams like France, teams like Spain, or even Portugal, they have good attacks. Some have good midfields, some have good defenses, but none of them have the potency of this German team. Because we saw this in the Euros as well, where the Germans can keep going. They can they can absolutely smack anybody they like. Because even in the first game of the Euros, they won by 5-0. And everybody thought Germany was going to win the Euros back then. And they were unlucky to the fact that they lost to Spain in extra time. Otherwise, we would have probably seen Germany win the last Euros as well. People just forget that fact. And this World Cup, even at 1-1, I could see that Germany was levels beyond any other team. Like anybody who watched the Brazil Morocco game yesterday understands that the level between Germany and Brazil is huge. The gulf is huge. And we will see this across this World Cup that this German side, drilled by Nagelsmann, it is insane. It is teched out. And we are not going to see many teams, many national teams, that is, that can compete with Germany. But where I say that Germany will lose out in this World Cup is with, funnily enough, with finishing in crucial moments. We're talking about players like Sane. We're talking about even Kai Havertz sometimes. They're good players. Nobody debates at the fact that they can be potent on their day. But when we talk about the big moments, when we talk about you have one chance to convert, and then if you don't convert, you're going to mess up, you're going to leave the tournament. Like, let's say, against a France, a very pragmatic side who have a potent attack, they just need one chance, they will score. You know that. But with Germany's cases, they're very, very good at creating chances. And especially, who I was impressed with today was Kai Havertz, was Florian Wirtz, actual proper creators, and Havertz being a channel runner. Like, we've seen their attributes in the Premier League. Wirtz not so much, but Wirtz is a world-class player. And today, he showed that he's a creation monster. But the problem lies in the other two attackers, and this is where they will get found out later on in the tournament. When it comes to an actually potent side, when it comes to a side with a good defense, they're going to get found out when Sane and Musiala overplay the ball way too much. Because in the midfield, you still have Kimmich and Pavlovic, outstanding players. But that attack will always let them down. Because Havertz, in the crucial moments, sometimes he goes missing. But sometimes he will show up. But Wirtz, on the other hand, his creation is almost consistent. Every time in the Euros, the last time, if you guys had watched Germany, you know that anytime Wirtz got on the ball, something was going to happen. Nagelsmann's system was working. But why they fell apart was because Wirtz and Musiala started. Because essentially they were picking up the same spots. And when they pick up the same spots, you can't expect, he doesn't play with 3 10s anymore, or 2 10s rather. He plays with just 1 10, but then Wirtz and Musiala are both 10s. So you need kind of an out-and-out winger to replace either Wirtz or Musiala. And if you ask me, I would put Musiala on the bench, bringing him on for Wirtz if needed. Because Wirtz is a better player. He's the more potent player. He's the one with better creation. Because Musiala just overthinks too much. His dribbling is insane. But when it comes to creating at the final moment, you know when you need that final pass in, that's a thing for Wirtz. That's not Musiala's game. But everything aside, this German team scores goals from everywhere. Yes, it's Curaçao. Yes, the level isn't up there with Germany. But to still bash them 7-1 in a World Cup where we've seen not too many goals being made. It's important to score goals when you're up. It's important to act on your advantage. We have a couple more teams that we're looking out at. Maybe Netherlands and Japan, which I will create a match reaction for that right after this. We're talking about some good teams that could play. But this German team is up there. German efficiency. We always relate Germans to German efficiency. And guess what? Today we're seeing that again. The industrious German midfield. You're talking about the attack that can really create for days. But at the same time, it's all about conversion, creating chances and converting those chances in the crucial moments, in the big moments. And that's where their whole game is going to fall apart or build them up essentially. Can they repeat what they did in 2014? What did they do in 2014? Was that they were built on an iron defense with Hummels, Boateng, and Manuel Neuer as well. And in the midfield as well, you have control with Cruz, Muller, Kedira. Now, can you recreate that in this year's team? The difference is they had creators back then as well with Mesut Ozil. You're talking about the high end, high echelon creators. But this year, you have a words. It's about how Nagelsmann can use words and Musiala, but Musiala overruns the ball way too much. You can talk about the defense being very, very interactive as well. The thing is, you talk about Schlotterbeck and Tah, two of some of the best centre backs in the world. Schlotterbeck probably the best ball playing centre back in the world, and Jonathan Tah has been outstanding for Bayern this season as well. And he's going to translate that into this German team to the fact that Rudiger is on the bench. That's the level that these German centre backs are operating at. And then next to them, they have Kimmich. And then right in front of them, they have Pavlovic. This team is built for great things. Now, it's all about how do they do in the better games, against the better teams. And we will know this in the upcoming two games. They're playing Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast is dangerous, right? They're two wingers, Diomande and Diallo. Them two can cause problems for Germany. And that's where their defense is really tested. Because you can call it what you want. You can say they just conceded one goal, but that one goal that they conceded, watch the highlights back. That is a very cheap goal to concede. And if that's the case against a Curaçao who had just one or two chances all in all, how does that translate when another team has multiple chances? And how many can you keep out? Because even for Bayern this season, we saw Neuer wasn't his old imperious self. He has some flaws to his game because he's just old. He's 40 years old. You can't expect him to be at the level he used to be. So it's all about how does the German defense react against Ecuador? How do they react against Ivory Coast? And that will tell us a lot about how they go on in this World Cup. But yes, I think pretty much they're through to the next phase. And now what happens in the next phase is gonna determine whether Germans can actually go and win the World Cup or not. If you ask me, they are strong contenders. I would even put them above Brazil. I would put them in the top 5 contenders. Not after this game, but then if you just know how Nagelsmann plays, if you know how good their players are individually, and even as a team, how good they play, you know that these Germans are top 5 contenders for the World Cup. So what do you guys think about Germany, their chances of the World Cup? And yeah, follow me for more. Like, subscribe, and follow me for more